Sweden's Marcus Ericsson takes his first pole position of the year here at Croft, and he'll be looking to convert that to a win to extend his championship standings. Alongside him, an impressive qualifying from Sergio Perez in the Honda. Now, it's a long run into that first corner, and it's caught many people out in the past. Here's Martin with the rest of the grid.
Thanks, Diana. Here then is how they'll start round 3 of the British Formula 3 International Series. It's a first career pole in F3 for Marcus Ericsson. Also on the front row at Alton Park, don't forget, for race 1. Sergio Perez's Honda engine, very quick in qualifying. Sebastian Hohenthal improves to 3rd in qualifying, ahead of the 2 Migals. Now, they've had a very strong run. Michael Devaney just quicker than teammate Gireri. Brendan Hartley and Oliver Turvey, a round 1 winner Turvey, line up in 6th and 7th ahead of Riccardo Teixeira, his best qualifying in the series to date. Aussie Sam Abe is 9th ahead of Jaime Al-Jaswari, and Andy Merrick's on the national pole. There is our pole sitter then, first time in Formula 3 for the young Swede Marcus Ericsson, with Sergio Perez alongside. And both the championship leaders looking to extend their advantage here. Just 1 point separating them from their closest rivals. Revs rise, red lights are on, away they go. No, the pole sitter's not moved. Yes, he has. Oliver Turvey has stalled though. And Kelvin, this is a worrying time.
That's a horrible position to be in. He's thankfully moving now, but he's checking his mirrors at the big speed differential, and into the lead goes Sergio Perez, tiptoeing around the outside. Off goes Riccardo Teixeira in one of the Red Bull cars.
Yeah, that's Brendan Hartley, car number 3. So they were very close on the grid. Teixeira's best ever qualifying. Oh, and 3 wide as well as they come round Hawthorne. Kelvin, it's really very wet and slippery, and somebody else is off. That's Sam Abe.
Yeah, Abe went wide out of the chicane. That is very tippy-toe slippy. You can see the spray coming up, and the tyres are still cold. They do take, even though they're wet tyres, they need to be warm to work properly, and that's Abe there midfield, and Teixeira not looking happy about something.
No, I think Hartley probably isn't either. He crashed out of the first race at Alton Park, crashed out of the first race at Croft. Okay, so very wet indeed, and the best position to be is out front. You've got clear visibility. That's where Sergio Perez is from 2nd on the grid. He took the lead. Max Chilton there, the teenager in car number 1. Just about 12th position. Sergio Perez, our leader then. Hohenthal with Devaney right behind. Ericsson on his own, so is Al-Jaswari. Mustonen there, under pressure from Gireri in the Miguel chassis. And Kelvin, those cars seem to be really liking either Croft or the weather, and I wonder which one it is.
Yeah, difficult to tell at this stage, but they've certainly seemed to, as a team, taken a step forward. And Gireri, an experienced driver, of course, he's putting that to good stead, but his less experienced teammate is running in 3rd in the other car, so they're certainly showing competitiveness. Just dropping a wheel off there was Walter Grubmuller.
Battling with series returnee Victor Jensen, who missed out on the Alton Park race. Nick Tandy there, the white and black car. Right behind him, Andy Merrick, 56th, leading the national class. And 2nd in the national class, this man, Jay Bridger, the green car in 14th. He's 5 places further back from Merrick, so he's got some work to do still. Now then, as they crane away the cars, let's take a look at how this all happened.
So here we are off the line then. Remember, Marcus Ericsson was very slow away, so Perez is already leading. On the outside there is Devaney, slotting into 2nd Hohenthal, and from the rear it seemed to me that Hartley just went straight into the back of Teixeira. A lot of traffic there, so we didn't get a clear view of it, but driver error, I suspect.
Either that or possibly tugged from behind going into the corner, but you're right, it was Hartley's car that hit Teixeira's rather than the other way round. And as they crunch away across the wet gravel, still racing around the rest of the circuit, so it's only there that the yellow flags are out. Oh, and down the inside, Oliver Turvey. Good move there on Walter Grubmuller as he gets into Tower. Of course, recovering from his stall earlier on, and Kelvin caught Grubmuller completely by surprise.
Yeah, it was a great late move as we ride on board with Sebastian Hohenthal. He actually needed to sneak a bit of the grass on the inside to carry it off, and yeah, it was touch and go, but he got through. Good manoeuvre.
Well, as we saw from Hohenthal, he's still very close to our race leader here, Sergio Perez, but they are definitely breaking away. Look at the gap back to the orange Miguel of Michael Devaney in 3rd place. And Perez having to be pretty careful here. Still a lot of puddles around, as well as the general wet surface. Takes a tight line out, and drifting out wide there in 2nd place, Sebastian Hohenthal. Here is the queue. There's Henry Arundel in the middle of it. That's starting to build up now behind Nick Tandy and Andy Merrick. There is Tandy, and Merrick looks as though he's not quite as quick as some of the championship cars that are stuck behind him.
certainly a big traffic jam there, but they're still tippy toes. You can see the cars moving around on their tyres. Although the rain doesn't look as heavy, it's very, very slick, the surface. Ericsson maybe seems a bit closer to Al Jaswari there. They're heading up to the chicane, which they take flat out, even in the wet.
Well, that's a change, actually, because Al Jaswari has gone up into 4th place. Ericsson was in 4th on the first lap, so the Spaniard has got by him. And, of course, his teammate Brendan Hartley already out of the race. So Ericsson finding himself a little bit all at sea here. He was pretty impressive in the sleet and snow of Alton Park. Maybe it's too warm for him, I don't know.
And what that battle has done is allowed Mustonen and Giurieri to catch those two up. So we've now got a 4-car battle for 4th place, which is interesting.
So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all compressing. And here's a battle for 3rd in the national class. That's Niall Quinn diving through past Steven Guerrero, the Colombian, Christian Einar and Stefan Wilson on the tail of that little queue. And you're still seeing the cars, wicked little twitches as they get under power, Kelvin, and understeering their way through the slower corners as well.
Yeah, they're in the and having a look down the inside is Mustonen, but it's not normally a passing place, that corner. They're now into the hairpin, the final corner. These 3 corners at the end of the lap are the slowest section of the circuit, and you can see the cars moving around. He lost traction there, Mustonen, and Giurieri drives straight past him on the exit on traction.
So good effort there by Guerrieri. He took advantage, didn't he, as Mustonen was having a little lunge at 5th place. Ericsson couldn't get through. And Kelvin, perhaps a little bit of wheel banging there at the chicane as well.
Yeah, it's a very tight corner, that hairpin, and I think very late probably Guerrieri dived inside Mustonen, and it's only single file, and you saw the result on the exit.
Leaders Perez and Hohenthal through Tower, and just looking as though Michael Devaney in 3rd is closing a little. Jaime Al Jaswari on his own in 4th. Ericsson there, Guerrieri and Mustonen. And this is Nick Tandy out of the race, and didn't see what happened to him. Oh, but Guerrieri's liking this hairpin, Calvin. Dives inside Ericsson, and that's a change for 5th this time.
Yeah, good move. Another one by Guerrieri. Made it look easy, in fact. It's very tight, that corner, and it requires both drivers to help each other. Obviously, the one being overtaken has to give way, otherwise there's contact, but he's certainly going well, although a bit of a wobble in the first corner, but he's controlled that with no problem. Back to the national class battle here.
Well, all these 3 guys off the podium in the national class at the moment. Stefan Wilson's on the back of the queue. There's Christian Einar, he's 5th, and 4th Niall Quinn, the other black car, because Steven Guerrero has got back in front and dived away. Diana's in the pits with Nick Tandy.
Nick, you're not really having much luck at the moment, are you?
No, to say the very least, yeah. It's another disappointing race, but at least we're showing promise there for a bit. We just had a problem with the gear selector. He got stuck in. I could shift up, but not able to shift back down. So when we got into 5th gear around the hairpin, it was a bit, yeah. So we brought it in, hope better in race 2.
Yeah, well, it's a tough battle for that small family team. He's a new driver to this series, and of course they're driving a different car to the majority of the field, so they've got a lot up against them. But he's certainly been showing good speed.
Not getting many race miles, and they could probably do with the testing, and probably hard-pressed to afford it as well, so it's all conspiring against them, but not having the best of fortune. Let's hope that changes at least. Now, all Scandinavian battle here. Finn Ati Mustonen all over the back of the Swede, and Ericsson at the moment just doesn't see... Oh, Mustonen going for the inside and drifting out wide to make sure he claims the corner on the exit as well, and again, a good hairpin move.
Yeah, Ericsson seems unable to defend the hairpin there. I don't know if he's slow through the previous corner, but let's have a look at another look at the start, and really slow away from pole was Ericsson. I don't think he stalled, but just nothing happened when the lights changed. Straight away he lost 4 places, so that's the beginning of his problems.
And now he finds himself in the midfield down in 7th place as Sergio Perez still leads at Croft.